More Than One Opinion. This is Rodi Nupur with my colleague Jinnie Day.
Thanks for joining us for another segment. Today we're going to be talking about personal lessons that we have taken away from 2020 and how and what things we're going to be doing different moving forward.
Yeah.
I think it's been a steep learning curve for a lot of people on all fronts.
Yes.
But is there anything specific from 2020 that stands out for you that you would do differently, I guess, moving forward?
Look, in terms of sort of top three, I'll tell you my top one. My top one is definitely taking advantage of the time that I was given. So I had to sort of learn that, okay, well, you've got time now, use it wisely. So I used it to transform and build myself. So whether it be time to heal, whether it's time to transform, level up, whatever it is, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever you've got time, because we were quarantined. So I utilized that time wisely, and I did that. So if you notice my sort of physical transformation, the most I've ever done has been 2020, because really the most you've ever done before that would have been when you were in your teens, when you had a lot of time on your hand. Then life happened, family happened, work happened, and then you sort of got caught up in all that. So 2020 was a bit of a sort of a time to reflect and to work on yourself time. So I took that from it. So now in 2021, whether we're in quarantine or not, I'm utilizing the same sort of way to keep sort of myself really being number one, and then everything else number two. And it's in no way being selfish. What it really is that you need you to be your best you,
absolutely,
to actually last for others and for the future. So you know,
it's self-care.
It's self-care, and a lot of people go, "Oh, it's a selfish approach." No, it's not. I see a lot of parents come to my clinics, and I see a lot of women, and they're in their 50s, and honestly, they look like they're in their 70s. And I think, what have you done to yourself? And then they're like, oh, you know, I've looked after others for all my life, and you know, my kids are older now, they've left me, and now it's my turn to look after myself. And by all means, that it's your right to do that, but it's like, why did you wake up then to do that? Why can't you do that from now while you're younger? Because most people think it's selfish to do that. It's not. You need to last. And you need to be your top game, everything, physically, mentally, spiritually. You need to be on your top sort of level game, so that whatever you face, you'll smash it. Not you're hitting it at a low energy rate. You're not your best, but you know, you'll try to do. But you know, as long as my kids are all right, they're going to be all right. They're going to be all fine. When you're on planes, and I know you haven't flown for ages because none of us have, but the first thing they say to you is, put the mask on in the case of emergency, on yourself first, then do it for others. Okay? Why? Because if you pass out, you're no good for yourself or others, right? So it's that whole strategy of focus on you first, and it's not being sort of in any way selfish. It's knowing the logic behind it, is that if you preserve yourself and you're 100%, you're going to be able to give 100% to those around you, and for longer.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's my strategy, and that's what I think I've taken from 2020.
That's good. I think
what about yourself?
So I think my top three is really kind of honing in on the power of your mind.
Okay.
Right? So what I mean by that is being isolated, being in lockdown, being quarantined. 2020 was a difficult year for me. On many fronts. And you know, again, coming back to the fact that not having to rely on external factors to fix your problems, to fix your mindset, and come out, you know, on the other end. One of the things that I adopted doing in 2020, which, you know, a lot of people talk about the benefits of, is, you know, meditation, but I never put it into practice. So 2020 actually got the opportunity to put that into practice, and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to keep your mind still. You're going at like 1,000,000 miles an hour to try and focus on that one thing for that time. It's difficult. So I started guided meditation, which makes you focus on certain aspects of your life. It forces you to think about that. And that has really transformed me immensely to learn to, I guess, channel my mind and not be distracted, block out the distractions. You know, if I have to focus on my business, just
irrelevant
focus on that, regardless of what's going on, regardless of my life is falling to bits or however I'm feeling. I'm going to be showing up 200% in that category. And if I'm with my family, I'm going to be spending like more quality time. I'll be more present, not sitting here on my phone checking my emails. Doing all those, kind of things. And, I think we're all a bit sort of like that, doing, a million things all at once, and we weren't committing to anything at 200%, you know what I mean? Kind of like just showing up at 50%. So guided meditation has been a very big thing for me. So just honing in on my daily, daily habits to, like you said, to make sure you're spiritually, physically, mentally, like you're good. Little things like, doing juicing like every day, taking 5 minutes out just for like reflection, daily reflections to like how you want your day to go, how you want your week to go, just to set you up for that, that mindset. The other thing that I've been doing is following a lot of podcasts, and this is a guy called Jim Quick. I believe his story was he was dyslexic when he was a child, but now his mind is, correct. He was made fun of being dyslexic, couldn't, had learning disabilities, but now he's just on the other end of the scale, and he's helping people who has learning disabilities. And one of the things that, really small things or habits that he does is he said to try and do things with your opposite hand. So if you're right-handed, try and do things with your left hand, which kind of builds better neural connections in your brain. So I've been doing, things like brushing your teeth with your other hand, or it's hard, right? It's not natural to do that, but we're just so relying on kind of going, to our right hand, just kind of get you, break out of those comfort zone habits. And just doing those little things I've just found being able to tackle, certain tasks or things in the business front, personally, it's just made things, I guess, a lot more smooth. Smooth sailing. And other focus for me has been more quality interactions with people. So time is something, as we all know, we don't get back. That's the most precious thing that we have, and you need to be spending your time very, very wisely. It's something I've always believed in and always practiced, but I think 2020 has kind of brought that to another level. So if I'm not feeling, the vibe, the energy, that we have, then I wish all the best. But
I've got to give it to someone that that I can spend some time with. Because my time is limited.
Correct. So I've kind of shared, quite a, few people, not in a bad way, but I've just kind of really tightened up my circle. I feel it's quality, and they're adding value to my life, aligned to where I want to go, who I am as a person. And I think that's very, very important. So I think that daily habits are a big thing that sets you up for success personally, professionally. Of course.
And also be your failure. If your habits are bad, then it will set you up for failure. Because that's your habit every day. That's what you do. How do you expect it to change or to be a good outcome if it hasn't changed? So, seeing 2020, what I was discussing with you before offline, that keeping my overheads low, because before I had flashy clinics, flashy this, flashy that, and then what happened was no more business. So then what happens? All that is waste. So keeping conservative and keeping your overheads for business even low means whatever gets thrown at you, you're sort of going to be able to accommodate for it and survive. But if your expense is huge, and that could be in your regular life too, if you spend more than what you make, you're actually setting yourself up for a disaster. So generally you should be spending much less than what you make, and try to put a little bit aside for rainy days. Because if anything showed you in 2020 that it's a long rainy day, it's a long rainy year, and it's going into 2021.
It's going to be a big situation for some time to come now.
It's going to be a big one. And it's changed the way that we do things, and I think for the next decade, it will change a lot of things that we do. It's just different now. So where people used to criticize Asians for wearing masks and all that in their countries, they've gone through problems that we in the West have just seen now. so they know how it is. So I dwelled a lot in Asia, so I know how they work.
Yeah.
So for them, they just want to minimize the issue, plus the pollution and all that. So for them, masks is a normal thing. For us, it's a big deal here. It's like, oh my God, all my rights are getting taken. America, the Constitution, I'm going to bring out my guns. Changes are going to happen, and they're going to impact business, your life, your everything. So I feel if you've taken anything from 2020, take the good and the bad and think, okay, it looks like this is here to stay, and I'm going to have to adapt to it. So what have I taken, and I'm talking in terms of steps, to address this for the next decade? How do I address this? For me, it's keep my my overheads low. Take baby steps, big steps when I need to take, but not stupid giant leaps based on an economy that is always running perfectly, because it's not the case. And spend more time on me, because I need to last.
That's right.
Like I need to last, and I need to be my best me.
Absolutely.
all the time.
Absolutely. That's
So,
a really good advice. You have to be flexible. You have to be fluid in business, because especially now, because things will be unpredictable. It's going to be going up and down. Restrictions just came back into place. So, people were like cheering, oh, it's great. We can, plan ahead. Again, with my entertainment business, with the restrictions back in place, so many things just got pushed back.
Yeah, it would kill you.
Because 100 people, per event, where people were planning weddings that were
Now 20.
Yeah, 300-400 people. So again, at literally overnight, all that was demolished. So like I said, you have to have contingency plans. You need to be able to pivot quite quickly. But there's also advantages that people who were traveling and you can't travel, they also have some spare disposable income now. So there is opportunities there where you can tap into that. So it's not all doom and gloom. So you just need to know how to kind of meet people's needs. It's a good time to see what else you can sort of add to your business.
There's definitely changes to be made, and there's opportunities. So it's changing the way you think of what you're used to. I remember I said at the start, I don't know if you remember, we done one in 2019 in around March. We done a segment, and I said in that segment, you'll see that a lot of people's way of doing business will change for good.
Absolutely.
Because what will happen is the old dinosaur way of thinking, people that are in their late 60s, 70s and 80s that are still holding on to their businesses because they're rich, but they know how to do work the way they normally do, where they have to have meetings, face-to-face, sit down with everyone. Everyone has to take 2 hours of their day off, travel to this meeting. That was stupid. That was a stupid strategy that was based on the fact that people couldn't see you face-to-face. You thought that they wouldn't work well at home. You didn't have the opportunity to be able to talk to them on FaceTime. The thing is, when I don't know if you remember when LG had their phones came out, 3 LG.
Yes.
So they had the opportunity they're the first phones to be able to do a video call and to talk. Now, they were all technologies where I remember people coming up to me saying, look, there's going to be a huge technology where people are going to do business meetings on things. You don't have to turn up. You can do it on video. And I said, no, it won't. And it never did. I said it won't until something catastrophic happens. It forces them to happen. It won't happen. So my mates went and invested big money in these video conference or whatever. At the time, it was that kind of style. Now it's apps. And it wasn't. Zoom was nothing. No one knew what Zoom is. No one cared until Corona hit. When the virus hit, everyone had to stay at home, but still business had to go on. So now they had to become adaptive to it. So then Zoom came in, and then all of a sudden video conferencing becomes a thing now. So now there's vacant places in the city, vacant offices, all this, and people have realized, they're quite efficient. They could do that. So things have changed because they've become adapted to it. But these things were always there, those tools, but they forced us now to use them.
That's right.
Okay, so I think there's opportunities, there's things, but you have to adapt to what you see around you now. And it might be here to stay for a long time. Right? It's not going to revert back to how it was before. People are used to now doing things this way. It's cost effective to not turn up to work and to talk from home and to get your work done without traveling 3 hours back and forth.
Well, people are less stressed, right? Because you don't have to commute 3 hours a day. You can have that extra half an hour, 45 minutes to sleep in, get your errands done, right? Have more of your day. You can work out at
productive.
5:30, so people are less stressed. That's hence they are more productive.
Yeah. So it's changed. So if it's changed, that means I have to adapt to this. There's a lot of things to adapt to, and one of them is definitely that this has changed the way we do business, the way we go out, the way we do. We just have to adapt to it. We can't stress about it. We can't freak out about it. It just is what it is. So if I've taken anything from 2020, it's definitely to focus more on ourselves. And to adapt to the situation that has been handed to us, which looks like it's here to stay. So keep your overheads low. Your business plans, small micro steps, not huge giant plans, because as you saw, things could literally come to a shutdown in overnight. Literally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Several times.
Oh well, Well, we just come out of lockdown now, and who knows what's going to happen. I was going to be planning like a little getaway in December. And I thought, you know what, people are getting way too comfortable, too complacent. I go, something's going to happen.
Sure.
And 2 days before Christmas,
Bang.
Everything was just like sort of like gone. But I think also one other thing with clubs actually closing, I have found that people are forced now to actually sit down and have a face-to-face conversation as opposed to just like the music blaring and just bringing this like drunken whatever state and just whatever sign language and whatever it is. You actually have to be communicating with people properly. You know what I mean?
It's changed things.
It's changed. You're having.
So it's gone back to the 90s.
Yeah, which is it's not a bad thing. Like you actually have to have a personality, you know. But I think it's great that the focus is back on quality interactions. Quality like relationships. I think that's great. I think people are going back to the basics. What makes you happy, what like fulfills you. You don't need so many distractions and noise around you to make you happy or to like have a good life.
That's right.
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. And I was guilty of that. I think everyone was like all guilty of that. And even though we weren't busy, we just found an excuse. Okay, we have to like do something. Why just be still?
That's right.
People just didn't know how to be still.
That's right.
And enjoy your own company. So
thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining another segment of More Than One Opinion. Would love to hear about your experience, how lockdown, quarantine 2020 was for you, and then obviously it's going to be carrying on into the new year, and any new habits that you've adopted or any change that you've made in your life that has a positive impact going forward. Drop us a comment.
Yes, please. Thank you for now.
Thank you.